Welcome, everyone. Let's get right into it. Think of this explainer as a critical, strategic briefing for the board and executive leaders. Right now, we're looking at an industry that is quite literally breaking records and breaking down at the exact same time. It's wild. Today, we're going to unpack this current volume versus profitability paradox. And more importantly, we'll map out exactly how the top operators are utilizing asset-light scaling and artificial intelligence to navigate through it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 6 key areas. First, the volume profitability paradox. Second, infrastructure constraints. Third, scaling with asset-light models. Fourth, regional AI integration. Fifth, AI for sustainable operations. And finally, the strategic AI management gap. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The volume profitability paradox. Record highs meet squeezed margins.
So, we are currently witnessing this massive market boom, right? But underneath those top-line numbers is a hidden crisis of shrinking profits. We see absolute record volume. I mean, Germany alone saw 496.1 million overnight stays in 2024. That eclipses even the pre-pandemic peaks. Guests are definitely traveling, and they're spending. But then, contrast that with the margin compression. Revenue per available room, or RevPAR, actually fell. Why? Well, operators are just getting battered by escalating wage hikes, chronic labor shortages, and fiscal pressures, like the sudden restoration of the 19% VAT rate on restaurant services. We're truly in this value over volume era now, where record travel frequency just does not automatically equal record profits. To really put the sheer institutional-grade scale of what's at stake here into perspective, just think about this number: 499 billion euros. That is the forecasted total GDP contribution of the German hospitality sector for 2025 alone. I mean, this is a massive, systemic industry. But to protect that huge revenue pool, we absolutely have to look closely at the severe operational threats that are trying to undermine it.
Section 2. Infrastructure and workforce constraints. The physical and human bottlenecks.
You know, we often talk about digital growth as this limitless frontier, right? But right now, those digital ambitions are crashing headfirst into very hard physical and human limits. Let's look at how these structural limits play out in real markets. On the physical infrastructure side, take Croatia, for example. They have a booming tourism sector, but their energy grids are really struggling to support the high power demands of localized AI data centers. You literally cannot run next-generation tech on last-generation power grids. Then consider the human workforce constraint. In early 2025, Croatia had to issue 16,000 foreign work permits just to keep the lights on in hospitality. And across the broader EU, the sector is failing to fill 10% of its required positions. But it's not just a lack of bodies in the building, it's a critical gap in digital competency.
Actually, this quote from the research hits the nail on the head regarding our current dilemma. The workforce must be reskilled to provide high-touch, empathetic service while simultaneously learning to interpret complex AI data outputs. Think about what we're asking for here. We're demanding a completely new type of hybrid worker, someone who can charm a guest at the front desk while simultaneously analyzing predictive AI data on their tablet. That is a massive reskilling challenge.
Section 3. Scaling with asset-light models. Shedding real estate for rapid growth.
So the big question is, how do operators survive this insane margin squeeze and physical bottleneck?
Well, the asset-light business model is the exact strategic lever needed to outmaneuver these current capital constraints. Instead of sinking millions into buying land and pouring concrete, companies are pivoting. They're focusing entirely on brand power, management, and franchise fees. It completely minimizes the massive capital and maintenance costs that come with physical real estate ownership. When we put these two models side by side, the financial logic is just undeniable. The old, asset-heavy model requires heavy physical maintenance, it traps your capital, and it results in lower operational margins. Not great. Conversely, the asset-light approach offers incredibly high margins and rapid global scalability. We are seeing major groups aggressively shed their underperforming physical properties. They're using sale and leaseback strategies, selling the building to a capital partner, keeping the operational rights, lowering their financial leverage, and then using that freed up cash to fuel rapid expansion.
And the market proof is literally everywhere. Major chains are aggressively acquiring disruptive, next-generation concepts specifically for their asset-light potential. Take IHG's acquisition of Ruby Hotels, which uses a lean luxury model, physically removing high-cost services like sprawling front desks to boost margins. Or Marriott backing Citizen M for its tech-driven modular scalability. This strategy has proven so effective that branded chain penetration has now reached 42% of the overall German supply. We're seeing institutional-grade capital, like private equity and sovereign wealth funds, aggressively backing these high-margin, agile portfolios. It's a real game-changer.
Section 4. AI integration and regional adoption. Regional maturity and pragmatic solutions.
Now, if the asset-light model is the vehicle, AI is absolutely the technological engine driving it. But keep in mind, adoption looks very different depending on the market's maturity. In Germany, AI acceptance is practically universal at 98%, which is up from just 56% a couple of years ago. More importantly, 51% of German operators already use structured company-wide AI training programs. They are systematically preparing their workforce. Contrast that with Croatia, where adoption is highly targeted and corporate-led. Massive players like Valamar Riviera are spearheading this, utilizing AI-driven analytics, digital concierge, and real-time inventory tracking to streamline their operations.
Section 5. AI for sustainable operations, transforming the kitchen.
It is vital to understand that AI isn't just some back-end administrative tool for, sending marketing emails. It is fundamentally reinventing physical operations and recovering lost margins. Get this, the industry average for food waste is a staggering 20%. That is pure profit just thrown in the trash, and it's heavily exacerbated by sticky inflation in the food supply chain. But operators who are utilizing AI inventory management and real-time tracking, they have slashed that number to less than 2%. Less than 2%. That is incredible.
Let's walk through exactly how this builds into an entirely new operational workflow. Step 1. The AI algorithm predicts customer demand using vast amounts of historical data, which totally prevents over-ordering. Step 2. It measures and monitors waste in real time, allowing kitchen staff to adjust portions on the fly. In Step 3, it actively suggests ingredient substitutions that maintain flavor profiles but significantly lower the carbon footprint. Early adopters of this specific menu optimization have dropped their menu-related emissions by up to 30%. This isn't just a gimmick. This is highly pragmatic, margin-saving technology.
Section 6. The strategic AI management gap. The boardroom's blind spot.
All right, this brings us to the climax of our briefing, and frankly, it's a critical warning. We have a massive governance deficit right now, a true boardroom blind spot. 98% of companies consider AI highly relevant to their survival, yet only 53% have established approaches for responsible AI. But here is the most alarming stat of all. Only 39% report that their AI strategy is being actively steered by top management. Let that sink in. AI is everywhere in the organization, but top executives are rarely holding the steering wheel. It's happening to them rather than being driven by them.
And unfortunately, this management gap translates directly into financial restraint. Despite viewing AI as this ultimate pragmatic savior for labor shortages and margin compression, budgeting remains highly conservative. For 2026, 67% of companies plan to allocate less than 10% of their total investment budget to AI. You simply cannot expect a technological revolution to save your margins if you are starving it of capital and leadership.
I'll leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. You've seen the record volume clashing with compressed margins. You've seen the shift to asset-light scaling and the absolute necessity of AI to manage labor and food costs. But listen, none of that matters without governance. So the question for every executive in the room today is, who is actively steering your AI strategy? Thank you for joining me for this strategic briefing. Take these insights, step up, and actively govern your digital transformation.